If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Yetsey.
Here.
Mrs. McCarthy.
Here.
Mrs. Saxon.
Here.
Mrs. Tamira.
Here.
Mr. Bach.
Finalization of the agenda. Is there anything to add or delete?
The agenda is final as presented.
Thank you. We'll move into the superintendent's and treasurer's report.
Every year, we look at our school fees to determine if we are still on track with the fees that are currently charged. And this year, we do have some minor changes to our school fees, and Mr. Pritt would like to share those with the board. Mr. Pritt.
Thank you. As Mrs. Casario said, every year we do look at school fees. And the good news for this coming year is that the majority of our school fees are going to remain either the same or at the high school level, we'll actually see a decrease in some fees. So to put this into perspective for you, we really break school fees into three major categories. We have our consumable fees, we have instructional fees, and then we break them out into our technology fees. So in most cases, our consumable fees are going to be things like workbooks, hands-on materials, science materials, things that we can't reuse. And then our instructional fees, a lot of time are falling into digital subscriptions where we are nowadays. That's been a change from the past where we would actually have physical things. And then our technology fee that we assess, all of our students. So what's key to recognize is with any of these school fees, we are not covering the entire cost of the school fees themselves. So almost without exception, the school fees for students are in excess of what we actually charge back to our students and our families. To give you an idea, our workbook fee at K through 2, we charge $15 for just our math workbooks alone, run us $22. So in that case, if the parents are seeing a reduction of about a third. So the recommendation moving forward would be that we maintain the same school fees that we have had for grades pre-K through 8. And those are dependent upon building either $80, $85, or $100. It would be 80 at ECLC, it would be 85 when you get to Liberty, and when you get to 5 through 8, it would be a flat $100. Put it again in perspective, realistically, that 5 through 8 range, if we were to charge every fee, you're probably looking at something closer to ballpark of $130 to $140. So we really do discount that over what we're doing, and I think that's the right thing to do. When we get to the high school this year, you're only going to see a single price increase, and that's actually the senior fee is increasing by $5. And the reason for that is this is the first year that students will actually receive diploma seals on their diplomas. So in the past, students would be able to pass a course just by passing their credits in their end of course exams. Now they have some other pathways. They get a citizenship seal, they get a participation seal for community service. Those seals obviously are physical seals that will fit on the diploma, so they will have a cost to the that'll go from 45 to 50. That's going to be offset though, because we are taking $20 fee that has been in the social studies department out of the handle for this coming year. So every student who has a social studies course is going to pay $20 less in student fees than what they would have paid in prior years. And that's just because of the material and consumable pieces really aren't as necessary as what they've been in the past. So at the high school level, we're seeing a net reduction. So that's kind of where we stand and what we're going to be asking for approval at our next meeting on the 20th. Any questions?
David, you mentioned 5 8. Did you mean that 3 8?
I should have said 3 8. Yeah, I should have
just
said
wanted to make sure. Thank you.
that. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pritt. Thank you. At this time is hearing of the public. If there is anyone from the public that would like to speak, please step forward and state your name and address. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. This is Tamira, education report.
Thank you. We have several items for your consideration. First, we have 12 agreements to consider under the education report. These agreements are annual renewals of contracts for special education services and special education transportation that are required to meet the individual needs of students with disabilities. The agreements include the following schools: Positive Education Program, STEPS Academy, Kids Link Neurobehavioral Center, Insight Behavioral Counseling, Education Alternatives, Support for Families, Professional Van Service, Suburban Transportation, America's Best Transportation, and Education Alternatives Transportation. Second, we have a contract with the Project Search with the Lorain County ESC to serve students at Mercy Hospital. Next, we have an agreement to employ 2 school psychologists through the Educational Service Center of Lorain County for the 21-22 school year. Also, we have the renewal of an agreement for a part-time attendance officer for the 21-22 school year with the Lorain County Common Pleas Domestic Relations Division Juvenile Branch. Additionally, we have 2 agreements from the Curriculum Office for student software. We have Renaissance Learning and Nearpod. Both of these programs are programs which are currently used throughout the district. Finally, we have for your consideration the school fees and pay to participate fees for the 21-22 school year. At the pre-K to 8 level, we are recommending fees remain the same. At the high school level, we will see a reduction of most student fees. This is the first reading for these items, and the second reading and consideration for approval will be at our July 20th regular meeting.
Thank you very much.
Quick question.
Yes.
The pay to participate fee, I didn't see, is that increasing, staying the same? I didn't see it on the.
Staying the same. It's all remaining the same.
Section, if any other questions.
Yes, please.
The project search with the Lorain County Education Service Center. Can someone refresh my memory about project search and the services? Program for students beyond 12th grade. So sometimes we have students that have more involved needs and need additional services for independence and vocational training. And they at Mercy Hospital, and they used to run something out of LCC, but that program is closed this year. So they're just running something out of Mercy Hospital. So we have a few students that this year are going to the Mercy Hospital program, and it's really job skill training, but applying those skills that they've learned and carrying out. It's a one-year program. Very good. Thank you so much.
And I just have a question about the pay to participate fees. Is there still the opportunity from the boosters for parents to earn booster bucks? So that is still in place. Okay.
I have another question about our 2 school psychologists, and forgive me, I don't know the names of our psychologists. Are these new hires and additional?
These are additional psychologists that will be hired through the ESC of Lorain County.
And where will they be placed? Just throughout the district?
One is at ECLC, and the other will be spread across 3 areas in the district.
This is, I think, on page 4. It says their names. just
Yeah,
so
that's
that-
down. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw them.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we have no policy report. Communications report, Mrs. Yetsey.
Thank you. We have 3 gifts to the North Ridgeville City Schools. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following gifts with appreciation. We have a varsity kicking net and cage with carry bag and lineman spacer, which was donated by the NRHS football boosters to the NRHS football team. Next, we have a monetary donation of $120 donated by the North Ridgeville Athletic Boosters to purchase 8 alignment sticks for the North Ridgeville High School golf program. Third, we have another monetary donation of $2,338 donated by the North Ridgeville Athletic Boosters to purchase 2 soccer recovery units for the high school soccer team. Thank you to the community for their tremendous support of our schools and our students.
Thank you. Let's move on to the building and operations report, Mrs. McCarthy.
Thank you. There are a couple of items tonight, more that we'll look at. First is to authorize the advertising of bids to purchase a food service vehicle for the district. The next item is a resolution from Ohio School Plans to provide coverage under the school district liability insurance policy in lieu of purchasing a separate bond. This is the first reading of these 2 items, and the second reading or consideration for approval will be at our July 20th meeting. That concludes the buildings and operations report.
Thank you. We'll move on to Human Resources Report. We have several items. 1 non-represented support staff resignation, 3 support staff resignations, 5 certified staff appointments, 1 non-represented support staff contract, 10 support staff appointments, 83 special project supplementals, 34 NREA supplemental contracts, 8 non-NREA supplemental contracts. This is the first reading for these items. The second reading and consideration for approval will be at the July 20th regular meeting. This concludes the Human Resources Report. Sticking together. And we have no finance audit report. Any other board business that we don't have on the agenda? Any announcements? So we'll move into Human Resources Report again. We have a few more items in the Human Resources Report. We have 2 certified staff resignations, 1 support staff resignation, 2 administrative contracts, 1 support staff appointment, 1 non-NREA supplemental contract, 1 certified staff resignation adjustment. I move to approve the human resources items in 1 reading.
Second.
Moved by myself, seconded by Mrs. Tamira. Is there any discussion?
Can I have a little bit of time to look this over?
Certainly.
And Mrs. Saxon, while Mrs. Yetsey is reviewing the agenda, we do have 2 of our administrators
Yes.
with us tonight that I know we would like to take a moment once questions have been answered to introduce them to the board.
Absolutely. Yes, my apologies.
Oh, no.
That was in the back of my head. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mrs. Yetsey,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
And we also have 1 certified staff resignation adjustment. I move to approve the human resources item in 1 reading.
Second.
Moved by myself, seconded by Mrs. McCarthy. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mrs. Yetsey,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
And before we enter into executive session, I wanted to welcome our new staff members here, our new administrators here, Mr. Pelfrey and Ms. Riley. Did you, either one of you like to say a few words?
A couple words for them first.
Oh, that would be one. That's a great segue. Okay, thank you, David. Because I don't, other than I met them earlier and they seem very nice.
They are great people, but they bring a whole lot more to the table.
Yes.
So just a little background on Michelle Riley, and we're excited to have Michelle join us. Michelle will be joining us as an associate principal here at the Academic Center. So Ms. Riley started her educational career as a reading recovery teacher in Prince George County Public Schools, which is located in Maryland. And for the last several years has been actually with the Metropolitan School District, either as an assistant principal or as a principal on assignment. So she brings to us a great wealth of knowledge curricularly, which curriculum guy I'm always for, but also gives us those great bands that we're looking for, having been in K-8 schools. It's a lot like what we have here at our academic center, 3-8, so we're excited to have her here for that. Also particularly exciting in this case is Michelle is a North Ridgeville resident, so we've got somebody who's home grown here with us, so we're excited to have you join us. I don't know if you want to say your thing now, or if you want another moment while I introduce Mr. Pelfrey, or whatever's good for you. Perfect. So, also joining us in the role of curriculum coordinator, which is the role that Dr. Miller came out of, is Chris Pelfrey. So Mr. Pelfrey has been employed for the last several years as an educational consultant with the ESC of Northeast Ohio. And what that amounts to is Chris has worked with various districts, including our own, in some very exciting initiatives. So what we've been working with Mr. Pelfrey is our project-based learning through both Ranger High Tech Academy, but also providing trainings for our staff here in the building, as well as our high school teachers who have an interest in PBO. Prior to that, Chris worked Fireland Schools as a middle school ELA person and a department chair. So from one former middle school ELA person to another former ELA person in a middle school, we were glad to have you here. So both of these people are extremely excited, extremely talented, and will really, I think, round out our team nicely. So they've got some great strengths in some areas that can fill areas of needs for us, but also allow us to support and just grow the district. So I'm excited to have both of these folks here today. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to the two of them just to say a few words.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, school board, and thank you. Good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you to the school board, especially our superintendent, and thank you to the team members that I'll be working with this year. It is an honor and a privilege to be working alongside with other very successful and educated educators in the district, and our plans to really help make our team cohesive and working at the academic center, especially in curriculum and in instruction, and also with professional development and where I needed. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks again. Thank you to the board, thank you to the superintendent, and along with the team that I've had the pleasure of speaking with, and thank you, David, for the kind words that you said in the introduction. I really appreciate that. I'm extremely excited to be part of the team. Hopefully that comes out in my tenor of my voice, but I'm really excited to be part of the team. I'm looking forward to getting to work. I'm hoping to make an impact on curriculum. I feel that there are some areas that I'm very comfortable with and some initiatives you guys have been working on that are going to fit very nicely. So we talked about fit earlier today. And for me, this just seems like a fantastic fit with the colleagues that I will share, the values of North Ridgeville City and the school district. So again, just thank you for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to getting started. So that's.
And Mr.
Thank you.
Pelfrey, you have some visitors. Would you
Oh,
like
I
to
do.
introduce?
We're all looking at my Heather, my daughter Skylar.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you both here. Okay, at this time, we are going, it is recommended that the Board of Education enter into executive session to discuss the employment of public employees. There will be no action to follow. Moved by Mrs. Tamura, seconded by Mrs. Yetsey. Is there any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mrs. Yetsey,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Buck.
It's 5:49.